Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. Welcome along to a new series on the channel with myself, DeeJam, and my good friend Adam.
Hello.
Who runs the Football That Glitters Isn't Gold football website. If you haven't checked that out, link will be in the description below. It is a brand new show. It's going to be a weekly or twice weekly, monthly, we don't know at the moment, podcast show where we're going to be talking about issues that affect non-league football and issues that are affecting us within the local game. So we've got 6 topics of discussion for you today, which are going to be randomly generated in a particular order. We don't know which order they're going to be done. We have a dice on a mobile phone app which is going to tell us which order they are running in. Basically, the 6 topics of discussion we're going to have today are going to be Stowmarket Town, number 1. SIL league changes as number 2, introductions to a lot of new teams this season, so that's going to be a talking point. The opinion on the sin bin, very controversial topic of discussion, especially in Suffolk at the moment. Dis and Ipswich Wanderers are going to be the 4th topic, the Leiston rebuild, and then Ipswich in League 1.
We're mixing it up.
We are going to be, we're talking about a whole range of different things because it's not just purely non-league football we want to be talking about, it's what happens at the higher levels and that trickling down into non-league football that 100%. Also is very important as well. So, Adam, let's get on with the dice.
Let's take it away.
To talk about which topic we're going with first of all, it is number 3. Number 3. So opinions on the sin bin. Wow, what a way to start this off.
Bit of fire to get us going, shall we?
Oh God, right, okay.
So,
what's your opinions, Adam, on the sin bin?
I hate nothing more than just to see players mouthing off constantly. It's an absolute bugbear. I like players to just get on with it. And I hate it if someone wants to fall over and say they're injured, fair enough. But all of the gobbing off constantly just annoys me.
Right.
And it unsettles me, and I just like to see people playing the game and letting the ref play their game.
Right.
Sometimes the ref won't have a good game, and other times he will, but their mouthing off just does not help. I've seen games last year where the ref got as frustrated and started mouthing off back. Let's not create that situation and bad feeling. Let's use the sin bin to get rid of it and have it there as a, you're going to go off the pitch for 10 minutes.
Okay. So you're kind of for it.
Yeah, I kind of am, but I'm worried that people with their own agenda might ruin it.
Okay. So you're effectively, your argument for having the sin bin is the dissent part of it.
Yeah, because it ruins the game, and I don't think it's good for young kids to watch either.
Okay. I'm 100% against sin bins, especially at non-league football. It can't be managed by referees.
Okay.
At a certain level of football, it just can't be done. I don't know how, in the SIL this year, those referees are going to cope. I don't know. I don't honestly know what they're going to be doing. If you've got somebody that's been sent off for 10 minutes, is he keeping an eye on that? On another watch? Is he going to have his main watch, his extra time watch, his sin bin watch, just to try and keep up with that? I don't agree with it. I don't understand why people have to make rules that affect the game of football like this. Just leave the bloody game alone. Just leave it alone. It's not.
I really hope there's a meme for someone with a lot of watches on.
Yeah,
that could be the story of next season if that does happen.
Just leave the game alone. If it's getting to the point where it's like, if players are constantly mouthing off, I think the way to just stop it is a yellow card. Simple as that. Just a simple yellow.
Enforce it.
No, a simple yellow card. So if you've got somebody who's mouthing off, no ifs, no buts, yellow card.
Okay.
They'll soon shut up if you really enforce it properly like that. I get how in the Premier League a sin bin is going to work because there's timers everywhere.
Yeah.
There's ways of regulating it. There's a way of doing it, but it's not for me. I hate it. I can't stand the idea of it.
In this debate style format, I would say you begin to persuade me when you think more logically about how things are going to be tracked. The first thing that came to my mind when you said that was if someone's in the sin bin, they've been there for 3 minutes, then someone else mouths off and then they have to go in the sin bin and there's a 3-minute delay between the two. How do we track the 7 minutes that's remaining plus then the 3 minutes extra the other person's going to have to be in there for?
Hang on, let me just get my 4th watch out to time you. You're on 3 minutes. You've still got 7 left, son.
That could be problematic.
You've got 10.
But then does it go back to the players saying, do you know what, sometimes we just need to put up, shut up and have a bit more well, the campaign is respect.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I've been involved in football matches. I've been involved in various things where you do get heated. You can't help it. You can't sometimes control it. It just blurts out. But, you know, sometimes you've just got to rein it in a little bit. As I said, I think yellow cards is the way to kind of deal with it. But I don't know. Leave us your thoughts. What you know?
We can't change it, so we should be watching 8v8 all season.
Yeah. new way of dealing with football. I'm not for it. I can't stand it. But yeah, leave us your thoughts in the comment section below. A lot of people have been to AGMs and forums where things have been talking about. If you've been involved in those kind of discussions, let us know what they've been saying to put your mind at rest. If you were against it and you're now for it, let us know.
The one thing I will say about it is that there hasn't been a glut of negative stuff flood the internet. Like Twitter was full of it when it got announced that it was happening.
Because I think it's been rolled out in quite a few other counties.
I think it's pretty much
before,
national. Oh yeah, so yeah.
Before last season, wasn't it? I think last season was the big...
Norfolk had a big lot of it, and apparently it was quite successful.
Yeah.
But if we get consistency with it, and they can look after it, it could be good. If it can't be looked after, and your fears are true...
There's no consistency with VAR. There's no consistency with Premier League referees. How is it supposed to trickle down to this? I don't know. Okay. That's not a pop of refs. It's not a pop of refs. No. But you know what I mean?
It can be difficult to interpret things and see what you're going to let go.
As I said, I'm talking purely from a fan's perspective. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about somebody who's within the game, who runs a club or is a manager who knows more about it. I'm just purely talking from a fan's perspective. I don't like it. I don't want it to happen. I want people to leave our games alone.
Let's give it a year. We'll catch up on this because we'll do the continuation of sin bins a couple of weeks in if this picks up some pace and people like it.
After we go to a few games and we see it in action, if it ever happens, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Next discussion point.
4.
This Town and Ipswich Wanderers.
Woof. Well, aren't these two sides making moves?
Really are.
They
really are.
They look keen to be promoted, is what I will be saying at this point. The players they are signing, Ipswich Wanderers have got a couple of guys from Felixstowe.
Big signings.
Geography's close. Joe Francis going to Ipswich Wanderers the other day shocked me, mainly because he said he was going to retire, so someone's talked him round. But at the same time, Ipswich Wanderers are not a club that are known to be splurging out on massive name players and stuff. They have got people signed there because they want to play there. Local lads as well, and
I think in recent years Ipswich Wanderers have been kind of connected a lot with Ipswich Academy, haven't they? They've been kind of like a breeding ground for one of the local colleges, I think, and they've got a good programme with them. And I think the club has been mainly run on youth developments, and obviously had a few issues recently in the last couple of years with finances and whatnot. And I think now they had a bit of an, by their own standards, an average season in
it was their
Furlough North. And
first season in the Furlough North, wasn't it, after getting relegated from the Prem. And I suppose they would have liked to have not consolidated the position.
They did a Swansea. They Swansea. They just finished mid-table. They weren't poor. They weren't great. They
just survived.
Whereas this, they were really struggling at one point last season. I honestly thought they were going to go down at one stage.
I'm not going to lie, we went to see them 2 seasons ago and they were poor.
Yeah,
they did not look like they were going to achieve big things anytime soon. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I've been speaking to a few of the guys there, and it looks like change is on the cards big time. They've brought back their reserves team.
Which is needed. You need a reserve team.
You need that development experience for the guys, especially from the 18s.
Yeah, you do.
Going forward.
You do.
And they are signing some good players. Some really good players. Again, people that are stepping down a couple of levels to play for them. And locality, I'm sure, is good. This has got a good catchment for football.
They have. They're right in the middle of Ipswich and Norwich. They're on that border between Norfolk and Suffolk. They've got that good wide catchment area that they can easily attract some good players to. We liked the ground. We liked the facilities when we went there.
Yep.
The stadium and the ground is really, really impressive.
It's a great place to go and play football, I think.
Yeah, it really is, and the pitch was good. They just need some more stuff going on in and around the club and around the on the pitch as well. And hopefully these both of these teams can start climbing their way back up the table and really give it a good push this year.
Yeah, I can't remember what the promotion criteria is because it's got a bit messy this year.
Oh God!
So I'm not going to say will both teams go up or whatever. Out of the two, Which one do I think will progress if it had to be just one of those two? It's going to be tough. Like Ipswich Wanderers and Dis have both signed players with experience, but Dis seem to continue. They're building and building. They've got that plan in place, but Ipswich are going all guns out, and I don't want to hold back. I think I'd probably call Dis at this point.
See, I'm going to go with Ipswich Wanderers.
We're disagreeing again.
My good friend Nick Albans, who was manager in the SIL when I first started out, is now one of the coaches and support members of staff at Ipswich Wanderers, and he keeps in contact with me about various different bits that's going on. I'm backing them this season. Out of the two, I'm back. I'm going to go with those.
We can probably get along to both of those this season.
Oh, 100%. We're coming to a ground near you.
Yeah, I'd like to not go to Dis versus Ipswich Wanderers either. I'd like to try and.
Oh yeah, watch them both in different games.
Which would be good, and then we can cover off a bit more of that league as well with some of the other teams that are in there. So
it's good level of football. Really good level of football.
Sheringham come in now as well. Pushed hard.
We should go up there.
Yeah,
we should go to Sheringham. That would be a great day out.
DeeJam day at the seaside.
Yeah, we could have a bit of a walk along the beach.
Get the inflatables out.
Get some ice cream. We could get some stick of rock and
skip. Should we get another number up?
I think we should get another number up. This is taking a massive
diversion. I'm uncomfortable. We've rolled a 3, so we've already done 3. Let's roll again.
It's a poor app.
1.
Stow Town. We're both Stow boys. We're both from this area. This is our hometown. This is our main team. In terms of non-league football, we're not going to shy away from that. It is our, it's our club.
That's our bread and butter as well.
It is our club. Making some absolutely massive signings, and
they're making waves. They're not.
I didn't expect it. I just want to put this out there right now. I honestly thought the last season was their make or break. I thought if it didn't happen this season, there was a couple of things kind of going on that I thought, right, they're going to try and sign a few youth players here, try and make, trying to set some other foundations. And I thought this season, the one we're now approaching, I thought this will be the year where we'll start to see some of the old guard maybe going out and some of the youth kind of coming in. But
transition.
It's not happened.
So
we've had a lot of players going out, but there's been a hell of a lot of players coming in, and from higher levels as well.
I mean, what I saw was that they tried to put together a side last season with a good mix. They've got some good young lads there. George Contrell was like
I love that boy. He's
favourite of ours.
He's class.
He's very special. Rick will probably get cross with us putting his name out there on a wider basis because
he's rubbish. George is rubbish.
Terrible.
Don't worry on about Rick. He's rubbish.
But yeah, he's an incredible player. But at the same time, they brought in players like Max Mellinson, who had scored over 30 goals from midfield for Thetford, highly regarded.
Yeah.
And a combination of what they brought in, people thought that they were going to do big things, and it just didn't click.
No, it didn't last season.
Massive injury problems. Luke Reed broke his leg. Josh Mayhew.
Do you remember December when he didn't have a striker?
It was just
it was horrendous.
Poor Remy, who is a forward but plays a more support role, was having to go up front. I remember on Boxing Day he had a hell of a performance, and then he hurt his foot. On Boxing Day, so it all just went wrong. And they kept bringing players in, but it just never got settled.
Yeah.
This year, it's all change. 8 in the door.
Yeah.
4 from Leiston. Loads of the boys in the squad have played at Leiston before already.
Yep. Higher level football.
It's 2 leagues above. They're bringing the band back together almost of some of the boys.
Yeah.
And it is exciting times. I mean, they go alongside Jack Ainsley, ex-Ipswich.
Yeah, God, I forgot about him.
James Bradbrook, who's he's a highly regarded young goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. At that level, he's been at Stow before, and no disrespect to anyone else, but he is probably the safest pair of hands that I've seen at Stow. He gives me the most confidence when watching him. Really good, really commanding. I like to see him. And then the return of Dave Cowley. He is a monster of a midfield player.
Yeah, he's very skillful player.
So it is going to be good. And to top it all up, they've got I've been told they've got a UEFA Pro licensed head coach come in.
No pressure, Stowe.
Yeah,
no pressure.
They've whether it's an A licence or pro licence. I've got told pro licence, but
they're setting these expectations themselves. They are making those moves because they want to go up, and they are putting that expectation and those targets, on themselves, aren't they? Really, they are setting themselves up.
Yeah, that's the natural transition, though.
Do you know what I mean?
What are those targets? There's people. Twitter is absolutely alive with people talking about Stow Town.
Yeah, it really is. It's gone mental, to be honest.
What do you think? Like, if I hand it over, what does the season look like for you? Because there's people just saying, "Oh, they'll clean up the league, they'll win the Vars," and so I'm like thinking, hang on, let's not get too silly with it.
To be honest, I think it's difficult because I know Leiston from last season absolutely steamrolled the league in the end.
They didn't steamroll the Vars.
No.
So they got to a similar level to Stow and then went.
But, from that perspective, they found a brand of football that worked for that particular division. And, as you said, we brought in a lot of players last year and everyone thought, right, this is now going to work. It doesn't necessarily mean that bringing in these good caliber of players, I mean, it's a horrible example to compare it to, but you look what happened when QPR went out and splurged all that money on loads of players. It doesn't work all the time making those big money signings. You've got to have a system, you've got to have a style of play, and everyone has to commit to it. And if they can crack that, they will walk the division. They will walk it, but it's a big but. They have to find a way of being able to fit all of these guys in. And they've got to be able to work together.
I don't know. This is where, James, it gets a bit tasty.
Right.
So across the back line, they've got the two central defenders from Leiston from last year.
Yep.
Including their captain, who's been, they've got over 400 appearances between the two of them, I think.
Yeah.
They've also got the right back and the left back who have been there, who's, I don't know why, but their names are just completely escaping me, which is massively embarrassing now. But yeah, Stow's right back, left back, Leon Otley Gooch, and why can I not think of the other lad's name? I do not know.
I know who you're talking about as well.
Yeah. Both ex-Leiston. They all played there together.
Yeah.
Jack Ainsley, ex-Leiston, played with the boys at the back.
Yeah.
Finchy up front. Yeah, he's Leiston, the whole spine of the team, and then James in goal.
It's hard not to look at Stowe and think that they are going to be the favourites.
For me, there's a different plan behind that. All those boys know each other.
Yeah, I agree.
Ollie Brown. How can I forget? How
could you forget him? He's the best player. He's the best player.
I know, this is the thing. A bit of podcasting nerves, I think, going there. But no, the thing is, Leon spent most of last season injured, unfortunately. But the one performance I did see him play out at Biggleswade was, I've never seen him play so good. I'm excited for him coming back, and he's committed to this season. I've seen him in the gym and stuff on Twitter, and I haven't been to a gym.
I was going to say,
the state of me.
I was going to say, you bulking out of it, Adam?
Well, I'm just blowing out of it. There really is the opportunity there for them to do something special.
Yeah,
they've signed the special players that were there before, and they've brought in like I said, they brought the band back together. If they don't win the league,
Christ knows what's going to happen.
No,
Christ knows.
The team that do win it will be incredible. But I look at the likes of God Manchester, who wrestle their way around the top of the league every season, and I look at Woodbridge from last season.
That'll be interesting to see whether or not they can continue that.
Carlos Edwards there is now coaching and leading. They've got the experience there.
Very true. We're not going to roll the dice. We're going to move on to the next segment because I think it works perfectly with what we've just been talking about and the fact that Leiston has pretty much been completely dismantled. The Leiston rebuild.
Yeah.
I mean, through my work, I do know a Leiston supporter, and he is extremely worried about what's going to be happening next season. Obviously, the whole club has just been kind of ripped apart. I think, and I don't know if this is true. I'm not saying I know this, but I think it's down to the travelling commitments. I think that's what's kind of put a lot of players off now. I mean,
second furthest.
This is what I've been told from a fan. Again, I'm not saying this is from a club source or anything like that. I've been told that the travelling is a massive factor now, and it's starting to take its toll.
I'm sure it's knocking 3,000 miles they're going to have to do this year.
You see, that for a non-league club's massive, isn't
and
it?
These guys have got jobs and family and lives. This isn't football that supports them full time, and they have to go out and do it, otherwise they don't earn. So there is only so much I think people are going to be prepared to take, and I think that's going to be really interesting to look at. As things get restructured and we look through the season, are players going to still carry on doing it?
Yeah.
Or is Leiston going to be relying on a few young lads? They've made some signings.
Yeah.
They've swapped goalkeepers with Needham effectively as well, so they've got some stronger players in there anyway.
And to be honest, the Needham keeper was not happy when he left.
No,
he was not happy. So he's got a massive point to prove.
Yeah,
and obviously, same division.
Yeah,
same division.
Yeah,
so,
step 3.
Watch this space on that.
We're saying same division, step 3. That tells you the coup that Stowmarket have made. Just going back a point, when they're signing players they're attracting people 2 leagues above. People are prepared to drop 2 leagues out of Leiston's squad just to be closer and have less travel distance.
Yeah.
It's not down to the FA initially, but there's an argument there that someone's got to step and listen and say, look how far out these teams are. They can't attract and retain because of travel distance, and therefore they will naturally fall down the pecking order.
Yeah, I just don't think anyone's going to take any notice. I don't think no one will step in and help teams like Leiston out, because they've done so well. They've gone through the divisions and they've built themselves up to have that fall, so to speak. That you're in a particular location that the FA can't move the league to you.
They are a victim of their own success, though, in a way, just by geography. And Leiston did come up through the leagues a bit, and they've got to where they are. But they've built something good, and they've got reserves team and that's all in there. They're a highly regarded club in the area, and I'm sure that ideally they would have liked to have retained players that have got so much experience for them. And I tell you what, when we saw them at the cup final in May, good grief, they looked incredible.
Yeah,
I know they conceded a couple of late goals, but they really did look dominant.
Yeah,
really, they made Felixstowe look very distant for the 80 minutes.
Very true. And there are still a lot of those players that are going to be there.
Yeah,
they haven't lost the entire squad. I think it's just going to be a very interesting season. I think
we're looking at you, Matt Blake.
Oh yeah. What a man! What a man!
That lad knows where the net is.
He does. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very interesting season for them. I think it might just be a consolidation year. Keep yourselves in the division maybe and see where you can build from there. You don't know.
They've got to put the foundations down again this year.
Yeah, they might surprise a few teams. They might do.
Sometimes that's where the shocks come from, though.
They might do at Woodbridge.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
Just quietly get in there.
You never know. And then it's either 2 or 6. We're going to talk about the SIL. Or should we leave Ipswich to the end?
I think so. I think
we'll leave Ipswich to the end.
We've just had a chat about division changes a little bit and what could be done to do things. So I think we segue nicely.
Into the SIL.
Yeah.
A lot of changes have happened this season. I'm going to be doing a separate video about the changes and what kind of things are happening. But I think, talking just purely at the bottom of it, the amount of A teams and B teams and reserves teams, we've now got Needham, we've now got Stowe, we've got one of Leiston's teams are in there as well. There's a lot of teams now deciding that the SIL is a good brand of football, and let's start getting some of our players some experience and playing competitive football. I think it's going to be great.
I thought it was to do with club exposure on your channel. No?
No.
Okay. Yes. No. The SIL, so things I'm seeing written on Twitter.
Yeah.
An introduction to men's football. A good way to get our under-18s extra games.
Yeah.
A good way to grow the club. 3 fairly well-used phrases. Yeah. I like all of those things. What's not to love about the fact that clubs want to get bigger and have more people aware of them? Because I tell you what, if someone goes and watches Stowe Town A, they'll then get mates in the club, and then all of a sudden they'll be down at the main games, and that's money in the door.
Yeah. Yep.
You're not going to get money out of Stow Town A games because they hold up the local rugby field, for example. It'll be the same for everyone.
And the good thing about it is if you've got a young player and you want him to be playing against competitive football, rather than having to loan him out to a club that you maybe don't know much about, you might not want to loan him to an SIL team. You might not want to put that responsibility on their shoulders.
It's trust, isn't it, and getting players looked after.
You've now got another team of your own at that kind of level of football that can compete, and I think it's going to be brilliant, and it's good for the SIL as well, because I think a lot of clubs, when I went there this season, or last season rather, were complaining that they weren't getting enough attention for the standard of football that they've got. And now the SIL, especially last season and this summer, it's kind of growing back in stature again, and it's taken on a bit of a life of its own. And I'm chuffed to have been a small part of it. Yep. And really kind of get the profile back up again. And this is only going to be a good thing. I'm really, really happy with it.
I'm guilty of not having actually had the opportunity to really go and take part in it. And I've covered a bit of SIL stuff on the website, and everyone's so keen to share their story and everything. Mm-hmm. And to have more teams in that, and people writing to me saying, "Oh, we're joining the SIL next year. We're putting a team together." That's really exciting.
Yeah,
like people want to get themselves out there and their brand out there.
It's
good. A tweet went out from yourself the other day about like how it's mad that some teams don't use social media and stuff. On the flip side of that, the flip side, it's like I know Long Melford was saying like it takes time, and I'm gonna be honest, it does. It takes someone to run it. It takes someone's time. It's a job, but those that can put the resources at it and do have it. The interact football Twitter's mad. This is fun. Football Twitter's good, and it's a way of growing a club and a community. And I go back to Caversham United, who I've spoken about before. Yeah. They're a Sunday League team that were on the brink of extinction. With about a year ago, all the players saying let's fold the club. They've now got nearly 4,000 followers on Twitter or whatever it is, just because of growth, and they're followed by Roma and all these other international teams.
Yeah, it's mad.
It's just community, and it grows clubs, and people should believe in that. And you get 5-a-side teams now with a Twitter following of 1,000,
which is brilliant. You've
got to love it.
You got to start interacting with fans. I'm not going to go into that discussion because I had a couple of people. Well, I actually had a lot of people private messaging me. A lot of people were agreeing with me, but I had a little bit of.
No, but
a little bit of backlash from that particular comment, but
it's a discussion, and I think it has to go both ways, and you have to take it both ways, and you have to. I looked at it, and I think that the SIL is growing, and it's getting more out there, and I think we also have to say like we can do loads for that, and they can do loads for themselves.
Yep.
But the teams that aren't doing it yet, you're missing a huge trick, because you can grow even further, and you can grow the image of the league further, and you can make everything go out to a bigger audience. But we've got to appreciate that if anyone's going to do that, it's another volunteer, and it's more time, and sometimes it's just not going to be available, and that's why it won't happen sometimes.
Yeah, very true. Final topic on this video: Ipswich Town in League One. Now, I added this topic into it. We picked 3 topics each, and I added this one into it, and I'm not doing it because I want to gloat. The reason I'm talking about it is because there's the potential this season that the signings are not going to be made to mount a challenge, so to speak. So you're going to be relying a lot on Ipswich Town's youth system, the academy players, the under-23 players, etc., etc.
So, James, I suppose you read Ipswich sort of news quite frequently and know all about it.
I do.
So, Paul Lambert has come out, said 1 or 2 players is the maximum he sees as incoming further.
Right, there you go.
So, that rounds the window off as maybe 2 more if he can get them. There is no transfer budget, that's been announced.
Right, okay.
Nothing.
So, there you go then. So
James Norwood has come in, I bet the wages there were fairly high. Thomas Holy in goal. Bukowski might go anyway. But we've already seen the fact that they've got in another reserve goalkeeper that's all catered for.
Yeah.
And then his name was Prebeck or someone. That's it. They've got no one else in. They've trimmed the squad down by about 15 players.
Yeah. So you are now going to be relying a lot on the youth team.
25 players are in the bare bones.
Yeah. So my whole point around it is that we had the classic example last year of Jack Lancaster going on loan to Bury, did absolutely amazingly well, and was because of that was then given a chance to be in amongst the Ipswich team.
Then did amazingly well.
And did well. So my point is that are those opportunities of players coming down? So, say for example, like Stowmarket loaning players in. Felixstowe have taken on a couple of Ipswich players. I think Stowmarket have taken on a couple of Ipswich youngsters from time to time.
They had Ellis Morel year before last, who've now signed permanently, but he would never have got that chance without Ipswich. Yeah.
So there are a lot of players that are not potentially going to be able to come down to non-league football. And my kind of thought is, how much of an effect is Ipswich going down to League One going to have on our non-league game, where there's a massive club that are potentially going to be having to use those players in their first team,
for me,
more than sending it down to the grassroots.
Yeah, and for me, it might sound dramatic, is that relegation, if it isn't sorted out in a year, back to Championship football, affects footballing culture in this region, specifically Suffolk, because there isn't anyone around us. It's not like we're in London and you've got clubs clubs are as close as rats in London, right? So it's mad. And then if you're in Norwich, you've also got Cambridge, and there's Peterborough just around the corner from that, and Kingston Lynn now are pushing
massive club.
Right? So we can't ignore what's going on at Kings Lynn, with their recent promotion.
Yeah.
So Ipswich are very isolated geographically.
Yeah.
They've got a very tight budget. We all know the owner sticks to the financial fair play rules to the letter. Yeah. And they've got a decreasing wage budget. You ain't going to get players come through the door. You're going to be using youths, because all of those things point to youth. Low wages, no transfer fees, needing experience, lower level.
Yeah.
You can't afford the experienced players to come in when you've got no wages.
Yeah. Exactly.
You've got to use the talent that you've got.
As I said, that is causing, because from an Ipswich perspective, obviously being a Norwich fan, whatever, we're not going to talk about that. As I said, from a non-league fan perspective, I am just kind of thinking, well, how many opportunities are the youngsters going to get at lower league level now? Because, as I said, you're going to be used a lot more.
The biggest
I'm concerned about it.
The biggest thing for me is that they're currently a Category 2 academy. And they are pushing for Category 1 status, which I believe doesn't make too much difference. But it could help youth development in the area, which the other clubs would benefit from, not immediately, but maybe at a later date, because the programmes may be bigger and the spread might be better in terms of what they could contact. However, I'm not sure how many clubs in League One and below have got a Category 1 academy. I can't imagine that's a big thing, monetary-wise.
Possibly Sunderland, maybe Portsmouth.
But both of those clubs don't view themselves as being League One.
No, they don't. They don't.
Do you see what I mean? Both of those are clubs on the up. There's only so much room for promotion that worries me. And at the same time, those clubs that we're talking about that will no longer benefit from that player development, in the next few years it's going to probably be a little bit leaner. Yeah. Because they're not going to be able to readily loan out players. There's more competition. So we've got the prestigious Checker Trade trophy to compete in, and that's going to need a whole squad of players in its own, because you don't put your normal 11 out in it.
Yeah,
contentious subject.
It's an interesting topic of discussion. I mean, what do you guys think? If is it going to have an effect on non-league football? Do you not think it's going to have a massive impact?
That's one of those other subjects as well, where you could say, do you genuinely not care?
Yeah. Are you not bothered about what kind of goes on at Ipswich? Would you rather concentrate on the players that you've got in hand? Would you rather not rely so much on the youth team? I don't know. I think Berry would quite openly say that having Jack there was a fantastic move. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it'll be interesting. As I said, let us know what you think in the comment section. Is it going to have an impact? Is it not? Do you care? Do you not?
I think that
let us know.
The other bit that you'll see is that you may not see players released quite as easily.
Very true.
We'd see other teams. A lot of the local teams have got so many old Ipswich lads in them. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
You think it's make or break for Stowe? Make or break for Ipswich, I'm afraid, this season. It's
make or break for local football for us.
It's a massive call this season. It's going to be very interesting to find out. But yeah, we've covered quite a few topics on that.
I enjoy doing that. That's a quick idea that I've kind of been thinking about the idea for a while. You said you wanted to add something different to the channel as well.
Yep.
So that puts everything back over to yourselves.
Yeah.
What do you think of the idea?
We need you guys to get involved in the comment section. We need you to leave your opinions on these kind of things. Are there any other topics that you want us to talk about and cover? this series is going to be solely based on you guys getting involved in the comment section. You guys need to leave us some stuff to talk about. You need to leave us a discussion point, because if it's something where you guys are getting involved, it boosts the viewership of the channel up as well, and it boosts it in terms of YouTube's algorithm that they potentially use as well, and the more people it can reach, the better it will be for everyone involved. And as I said, we want to start getting to talk to as many people in non-league football as possible.
Yep.
So as I said, we're really keen to find out what your opinions are as well, and if there's some good opinions, we'll share them in the next video, and we'll get you guys involved in the discussions as well.
Really, I suppose what I'm all up for out of this as well is if there's those topics that you want us to talk about, can be anything football related. We'll get them added to the list. We'll do our research, because we can do these weekly quite easily, and me and James can split some topics between us.
Yeah, definitely.
Put them on our Super Six. It's a good name for it. I think it might be taken.
Might be a copyright somewhere.
But yeah, we'll have a look at it, and we'll discuss it, and hopefully we can bring this out fairly regularly and just have a chat through things and just see what you think of it, really.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, leave us your comments, leave us your thoughts. Thank you very much for you taking the time to watch the video. It really, really does mean a lot. It's been a great first episode. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have as well, Adam.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. See you
Bye.
later. Adios.